Frank Warren, how you doing?
I'm doing okay now. The show's over. I mean, all these pullouts this week due to the positive test was a bit of a. Well, we were in a sort of 50-50 where we were actually going to run the show, but I'm glad we did. There was some good boxing on there, some good performances, and I'm glad. I'm glad we went ahead with it. I think it was a good night's boxing.
Let's run through it. Mickey Burke. Now, this was his fourth fight. He hadn't knocked anyone out. This was the first opponent with a winning record, and he knocked him out. What did you think?
I thought he'd done excellent. Excellent. I mean, look, they're young kids, and you say it's full fight. They're quite under a lot of scrutiny, obviously, and on TV, and it doesn't normally happen for guys, when they're starting out like that. So he done extremely well, and it was a well-matched fight as far as the records were concerned. He'd say he was in with a winning fighter, but I thought it was a real good performance for him. Quite pleased, and he's got a lot of promise. There's no doubt about that.
He's got a mutual opponent now. Tommy Broadbent, a couple of fights back, had fought Florian Marku, who's the Albanian welterweight, making a bit of noise over on Boxer. Marku went 4 rounds with Broadbent. Mickey Burke just done him in 2 rounds. Is that a future fight that you can think about?
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you, down the road? I mean, next year, he'll have some more fights, and I'm sure he'll be looking, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to get himself in a position. If he can get himself up to 8-0, 9-0, then we can start looking at fights like that.
What about Henry Turner then? I know he is one of your favourites, the showman. How did he look to you?
I thought he'd done extremely well. The guy from the West Country who he was in the ring with, he was tough, very tough, and he kept, he was there all the time. But I thought Henry really boxed well. I thought it was great variety of punches, great work rate. He kept moving. I like him. He's got fast hands, thinking all the time, looking for openings. He's got a very good future ahead of him. That was good to get those rounds under his belt. And he was in with somebody, who come to fight.
He hasn't had any stoppages yet in his pro career. Is this a case of he's obviously turned pro young, he's only 20 years old, and that man strength isn't there yet?
It'll come, but look, what he's doing now is the right thing. He's learning. Every fight he's learning. Now, Alan's doing a great job of him, and I'm extremely pleased where he's at. So, good end of year. Get a good report, he will.
What about Kevin Najarco? Surely he's going to get a good report. Talk us through that.
Well, look, I've got to tell you something. He's an excellent finisher. Accurate punches, and the Camden caretaker is a tough sod. You've got to take your hat off to him, and he done a really good job. Chapman coming in, he didn't come to lie down, and he got the best out of him. But as soon as he got him in trouble, as soon as he stepped up and he started putting those shots together, I thought that was phenomenal. And the referee was right to jump him when he did. But that was an excellent win, excellent finish. And what was that? How many fights he had now? I think it's about
8. I
think something like that. And the other guy's a little bit more experienced in, but really a good job.
How far away is he from the likes of the Bentleys, the Heffrons of the world? So still a few fights, huh?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a way to go, but there's no rush. He's learning his trade, and what he's doing well. This is, I always say, this is not a 100-metre race. This is a marathon, and it's about picking up experience along the way. But I'll tell you something, what he's doing it in style at the moment, and I don't think it'll be long before, certainly sometime next year, he's going to be in a meaningful fight.
Yeah, he certainly caught the eye tonight, as did Tommy Fury. Obviously, everything that he does is under a microscope. What did you make of his performance? Well,
first of all, he's under tremendous pressure being the brother of Tyson. So everybody, you're his brother, and, it's like he's in that shadow, and he's trying to make a name for his own name. He's been out of the ring for a year. He only, his full fight tonight. His last amateur fight was when he was 15. He's 21 now. So you've got to look at that and put it into perspective. And he's not going to be rushed. I won't let him be rushed. And his performance was good. Once he started, really using his jab with more authority, he just broke the guy down. And that was a tremendous punch, that uppercut. Obviously the fellow was, thankfully, got up, but he was out for quite a while. But that, he's got power. He's got good power. And he's got a lot of learning to do because he's a novice. But it'll come together, and I'm quite pleased with where he's at as well at the moment.
Looks like he's got the right people around him. Obviously, in terms of guiding a career, he's got yourself. Then in the gym, Sugar Hill's knocking about. John Fury's there, Tyson Fury's there. What a sort of foundation he's got to build a career.
Well, he's got tremendous experience around him. You know, people. You know, you've got the heavyweight champion of the world, who's a very good coach himself. I'm sure if he was going to be a trainer, he'd be a fantastic trainer. He's got a great boxing brain. And Sugar Hill, his reputation and what he's done with Tyson certainly is brilliant. So that's great for him to be in that environment, in that winning camp, and it brings you on a bit more. And as I say, there'll be that brotherly competitiveness deep down, because that's how it is with brothers, isn't it? That's how they are. And they both support each other. But as I say, he'll want to be emulating what Tyson's done. He'll be looking to try and do that in a few years' time.
And maybe he well can with that sort of foundation.
But he certainly can bang, can't he? He's a big puncher. Big puncher.
Tell us about the main event then. The British middleweight title was on the line, and we have a new champion, Bentley.
Well, he done fantastically well, and the last fight he was counter-punching. This fight he got more on the front foot, throwing good shots, and Mark came to, as he always does, come to fight, and it was developing and turning into something a little bit special, I thought. But his eye obviously hampered him, and I thought his corner done the right thing in pulling him out. He couldn't see out of his eye, but Denzel did what he had to do. He's got the belt, and who knows, down the road we may make that fight again.
Well, I asked him what does he want to do next. Obviously there's the mandatory of Felix Cash, which seems to be coming up. He's open to that because obviously there's a Commonwealth title on the line as well. He just wants as many belts as possible. What's next for Denzel Bentley?
To try and get into the position where he can get as many belts as he can. I mean, he's that was his 15th fight, and he's won a prestigious title. When you think of all the great British middleweights and what they, the Kawasakis, in recent years, the Eubanks, all these guys, all Groves, DeGale, all what they've all gone on to do, win world titles. That's not a bad club to belong to, and so we'll step him out. I think Martin and everybody involved there have done a fantastic job with him, and I thought it was when I think back, he came in, was it at that dinner show we done? Was that about a year ago or so? He came in as a last minute substitute. Look what he's done in that period of time. He's really you'll take your hat off to Denzel. He's really a credit to himself where he's at, and obviously he's going to go home tonight a very happy man, thinking about all the big things that are going to happen for him next year. And by the way, and Mark will get him back out again. Yeah. As I say, it was a shame that he had the eye injury, but that's boxing.
Well, Denzel is a real example of taking your chance. As you refer back to that dinner show, I remember him talking on the night that he'd had a spar earlier in the day and then got a call from Martin saying, "Do you want to fight tonight?" And he said yes. He's changed his life, hasn't he?
Well, of course it has, and that's what fighting men do. And as I say, sparring that day, that takes enough out of you, and then you're going to have a fight on the night. That's old school stuff. So it's great for him. And I've got to tell you, I've got to keep calling Mark Tommy. It's like something in my head. I don't know what it is. So my apologies to him. He's the nicest kid you could meet. And
I think Mark's dad's called Tommy. So
I know, that's what it is. I mean, it's me. It's old age. I can get away with that. I'm an old geezer.
We'll let you off on your own channel.
Yeah, you can let me off.
Frank, so you lost 3 fights this week. Obviously, we've got Dubois versus Joyce coming up. You must be getting nervous about all this COVID. You see fights pulling out. Povetkin got COVID, Luke Campbell got COVID. You must be nervous.
Nicola Adams got COVID
in a Strictly bubble.
In the whole Strictly bubble. Look, it is what it is. It's dangerous times for people. That's why I think can't emphasise it anymore. What a dangerous disease this is, and the pandemic, and why people have got to adhere to what the government guidelines are and what they're telling them. We're seeing it firsthand in the sport, and because of the testing. And there's more testing now. There are obviously more. People are coming up more positive, and I mean, to be honest, we were like 2 days ago in whether we were even going to run the show. I'm glad we did for the guys who obviously have trained very hard, and we did have a good show tonight. But that's what can happen. Something suddenly just fall apart.
So I'd imagine you've got Daniel Dubois and Joe-Joyce both completely wrapped in cotton wool and locked in their houses.
It's not just them. It's the trainers. It's the sparring partners who they're mixing with. So the constant testing, making sure these guys are right. Because it's not like if it was tennis or something or a golf, you just do your bit on your own, maybe with your coach. This is so many people involved. And it's close contact, seriously close contact. Don't get any closer, does it? Somebody sticking a glove up your nose. I mean, that's what it is. So, we've got to be very, very, very diligent, and we do our best and ensure that we can somehow keep all these guys in a controlled environment. And I hope, touch wood, that 28th, everything goes well, because it's going to be a cracker of a fight. There's no doubt about that. It's something you cannot afford to miss.
Absolute cracker. Frank, give us your sort of final thoughts on this. It is a monster fight coming up, that Dubois versus Joyce fight. What is the reason that everyone watching this interview, I mean, they're going to tune in anyway, but give us the sell. Because
it don't get no better than two undefeated class heavyweights in the early stages of their careers getting it on like this. Very rarely does it happen. Very rare. And they're Brits, by the way. Got Olympic silver medalists. And you've got Daniel Dubois, who's already had seven senior bouts. You've got who's done phenomenally well, caught the public's imagination and attention. So is Joe. He's done fantastic, fought good quality opposition. This is the real deal. And what's been added to this is that Daniel went up to number 2 in the WBO. And if as we're hearing, AJ may vacate the belt, then Usyk's got to fight Daniel. So Daniel can't afford to lose that position. There's pressure on him and there's pressure on Joe. This is, these guys believe they've got the beating of each other. They believe they're the better fighter. I mean, absolutely convinced that they've got the beating of each other. It's going to be a cracker.
We can't wait. Frank, congrats on a great show, and see you soon.
See you soon, Deb. Cheers.